Let's bring in Damon Allen from Toronto, Canadian Football Hall of Fame. There he is, looking great on this Monday.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing awesome, Damon. Always good to talk to you. More importantly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing. I'm very thankful that I woke up this morning. So you can't beat that at all. So in that sense, I'm very thankful. Basically,
Well, anything after that is a bonus. Damon, the last time I saw you was Touchdown Atlantic in Moncton. We were all having a blast. Your Argos couldn't quite pull it out that day, but let's just go back a month. What was your recollection of that Touchdown Atlantic? What did you think of the whole weekend?
I thought it was really good. I think what the league is trying to do, what the commissioner is trying to do, is really set the stage for the upcoming team or the 10th team that will happen. And so we wanted to try to create that buzz, but the game itself ended up being a really good football game, which allowed the fans of Eastern, Nova Scotia and all
Maritimes,
those,
Maritimes.
the Maritimes, to be able to see some really good football. And the game was very exciting. So I was glad I had the opportunity to go down there and witness and see the fan participate, and the excitement of the fans and their desire to want to have football down in that in the eastern side of the country.
Well, you did a little more than, actually, you did a lot more than I did that weekend, because you went over to the Halifax area and you were running the pass, punt, and kick competitions. What was the vibe you got from the people all over that region about CFL football?
The vibe I got is, there's CFL fans all across the country. And so, when you start talking about having 10 teams, and there's been a number of our commissioners who have desired to have the 10th team, but really hasn't put the, I think the legwork and everything that it takes to actually add the 10th team. The fact that our commissioner now has set the stage for that. Now it's just a matter of, I believe they're going to get fans, and that's going to be no question. From Moncton to St. John to Halifax, and all those are going to support football down in the Maritimes. And so I think it has a great potential, very similar to Ottawa when they came back into the league, knowing that the way the system is placed, you'll be able to have a competitive football team right away if you put a team in.
Our producer, Clark, has put out the call to our viewers that have questions for you, Damon, and we've been flooded. One is from Nelson over at Phoenix. He says, can you ask Damon, what was it like playing CFL football in Memphis? What was that like?
It was really good. They gave me the key to the city. And it was very interesting because the field where we played was not CFL size. And so they tried to maneuver and innovate and make a field very much CFL size, and it was very difficult. The challenges that were going on during that time in its expansion had more to do with scheduling and also the field size. But the football teams and the talent that came from those American teams was really amazing, because you wouldn't have the Anthony Cavillos and all these type of players like the CFL and played on other teams, and they started in the States. Cavill, his first game with the Las Vegas Posse.
Yeah, we had some great ones. Eddie Davis comes to mind too. AC, you're right. And Aaron in Yorkton writes in and says, ask Damon about him almost coming to the Rough Riders. It's true. I asked you in Moncton, and you said that's not true. What is the story, Damon? Tell us today. Were you almost a Rough Rider?
I was very close to being a Rough Rider, and had more to do with coming down to dollars. It's a long story, but it's a short one as well when it comes to when I was in the equalization draft. Ottawa had the first pick, and Ottawa wanted to and called me and asked me would I come back to Ottawa, and I said yes, because if you pick up my salary, my contract, and all those things, of course I will come back to Ottawa. But a week later, the league called me and told me I was going to be a free agent. I was really kicked out of the equalization draft. And then so it ended up happening. The only teams I was dealing with at that time were the Western teams. But all the Western teams were offering the same money. So I knew that it was part collusion going on, and all the teams were talking to one another to try to keep the salary low. And I basically just refused to sign that deal due to the fact that I knew that all the teams in the league wouldn't come in first place. And so how I came to BC, they started the season 0-5. And Saskatchewan was the other team that I was also dealing with. And so, there's a situation and things are not right when every team in the Western Division are offering you the same deal.
Mike Abelmeshrick's in here, says he's got a question for you.
Hey, Damon. You see a lot of young quarterbacks these days getting thrown into starting positions your first year in Canada, and just kind of drowned with how different the game is. My question: I mean, you played with a lot of great quarterbacks, like Hall of Fame quarterbacks, early in your career. But how hard was it to pick up a bigger field like you're talking about, an extra man? All the zones being different on.
Yeah, how long did
reads.
it take?
How hard was it?
It didn't take me very long because I was in the I went to Cal State Fullerton. I was in the PCAA conference, and it was the #1 passing conference in the country. That's Long Beach State, Vegas, Pacific, Utah State, Fresno State. So I played against Tedford. Who else? Todd Dillon. All those guys who were at one point were leading college football in passing. So I came from a pro-style offense. And I think the most difficult thing for a quarterback is if you don't come from a pro-style system and you don't understand the passing game, then it makes it very difficult because, the CFL is a passing game. So if you don't come in those situations, don't have a really good grasp in the college level about the passing trees and triangle reads and anticipating and reads, then it makes it very difficult for quarterbacks to be able to come in our game and actually try to learn the passing game, especially with the extra guy. And so the thing I really had to get used to was playing with 12 men instead of 11, but it balanced it out. I mean, so even I did a Twitter note early on a few weeks back. I was telling the quarterbacks, all you have to do is read the free safety. They'll dictate every coverage in the league because that extra guy who has a quarterback, everything else is balanced.
Damon,
so that's why quarterbacks have to read the quarterback.
We got a flood of questions. We only got time for one more, and this is the one I think everybody wants to know your answer to. What is wrong with the Argos? What's your take?
Well, I mean, it takes time too, but I think the one thing I can say, and holds true to any team in the league, this is a quarterback-driven league, and so if your quarterback doesn't play to the standard or the consistency on a regular basis, it's very difficult to win in our game. It shows the same way in the National Football League, but especially here in Canada, it's a quarterback-driven league, and you can look at all the teams and look at their quarterback play. The teams have good quarterback play. Look what their record is. And that will tell you a lot about our game. But yes, it's a combination of a lot of things. If you can't score points and you can't stop anybody, then there's a lot of things you have to look at. They say the team, the Argos, is very talented, and I believe that is true. They say the scheme is very good. The defense and the offensive scheme is very good. And I believe at times it has shown that it is true. So if you have a good scheme and you have talent, then you should win ball games.
And our director of scouting.
Agree?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, you guys agree? Lack of talent and scheme.
That's not happening. So what's not there? One, the other, or both?
Well, I'm saying that they do have. That's what they're saying. They have talent and they have good scheme. So, I mean, some things are just not equaling out. But then there's another different level. When a football team has to trust one another, they got to play with energy. There's a sense of urgency. There's a variety of different things that come along with having a good scheme and talent, right? So there's just more to it, along with having really good quarterback play.
And our director of scouting, Craig Smith, has written in and says, how's the golf game, DA?
And my golf game is good. There's no problems there. That's because I put time in it and I put in the work to improve. But I mean, that's in all sports. You got to put the time in. You got to dedicate yourself, not only mentally and physically, but all those things. And then you have to know how to play the game. And so, Yeah, it's been a tough couple of years for the Argos, because last year I believe they were 4-14, I believe, and
Yep.
this year the record, based on how they finish, could be worse. But I mean, I know that I've been to practices where the team is playing very hard, working hard, all these different things. But then you have to look at all the other teams that have continued to get better each year too. So at the end of the day, being in a big market, you need a big name quarterback too.
Well, you can't keep firing coaches, but all points.
No, they can't.
No, all signs point that they're gonna do that in a top to bottom house cleaning. But Damon, we could talk all day. Appreciate this. I'm sure we'll see you at Grey Cup. I appreciate your time today.
You too, guys. I mean, it was great talking to you, and sorry about the, getting on. It was very difficult, but I finally, we made it happen.
That was perfect. Now, thank you, Damon.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.